Hello and welcome. My name is Lesley Anderson. I'm one of the co-owners of Boho Yoga here in McMinnville, Oregon. Welcome to your practice. Namaste. Today's class is a gentle yoga class. This would also be a class appropriate for prenatal and postpartum students, and I would just say that if you are of that special population today, to just listen to your body, listen to your intuition, and adjust as you need today in this moment. And that really goes for all of our students. I have a few things with me for today's practice. I have 2 blocks and I have a blanket. Another tool that you might want to use would be a wall, having a wall handy for you, or a chair. A chair is a really great alternative if we don't have blocks, or if you want a little higher position to place your hand for some of the balancing poses that we'll do. Today's practice is going to be about tuning in. This is quite a crazy time of our life. This is being filmed right at the heart of our COVID-19 pandemic. So there's a lot going on, and it's very easy for us to check the news all the time, and it takes a lot of effort to just sit, to just be, and we're gonna take some time today to do just that. Thank you for joining. As we start our practice, find a comfortable seat, a long spine. And just begin to observe that you're breathing. Now, if you're immediately postpartum, or you've had some recent abdominal surgery, you can avoid the deep belly breaths. But for all of us, who are not in that category, our goal is to find these deep belly breaths, these big diaphragmatic breaths. So as we inhale, we want to feel the belly expand outwards. We want to feel the ribs expand and the heart lift lightly. And as you exhale, finding the very bottom of the breath, whatever that means to you today. We can tell ourselves this is an inhale as we inhale, and this is an exhale as we exhale. And in this moment and throughout our practice, you might see your mind drifting, going down different rabbit holes. And the sooner that we can just say, hey brain, I see what you're doing, and gently bring it back into the awareness of this moment, that is our intention today. Become aware of your sit bones. You might even gently sway the body back and forth and side to side, feeling the stability of the ground beneath you. Once we find stillness, you're attempting to find that plumb line of the body. You might even position the head kind of back and forth until you feel like it's right on top of the skull. So many of us, if we've been looking at a screen or a computer all day, we don't even notice that our head is sitting several inches forward of the spine, which puts a lot of pressure on the upper back and the neck. And then as we imagine this kind of light coming down on us, coming through us as we breathe, we start to release any remaining tension that we're holding through the crown of the head, the skull, muscles of the face, the jaw. Release the neck, the shoulders, just let the arms be light. Feel the belly taking up its natural space as you breathe. And then we feel the light of the legs. And releasing any tension wherever you're holding at the low back or the hips. And then keeping all of the muscles relaxed as we can, we're going to introduce a little bit of traction through the spine as we extend gently upwards through the crown of the head. And as you breathe with this new space, just observe. And starting some gentle movement here, let your hands come to your knees or your thighs, and then start to round the back, and then arch the back, some seated cat and cow movements, really focusing on the movement of the shoulder blades on the back of the body here. And now start to take that into circles, or Sufi rolls here, as we take the torso around the hips. You can make these as big or as small as you like, as fast or as slow as you like. And then as you're ready, we'll find stillness. And I'm going to switch the cross of my legs. I'm going to try and remember which direction I was going. Now I'll go the opposite direction. Observe the pattern that you're creating with the breath as you move. Notice the subtle heat that you're starting to build just through this movement, through the breath. And then come to stillness. Our tall spine. On an inhale, we'll take the hands up and overhead. Feel free to keep them wide, or you can tilt the head back and bring the hands together if that feels good to you. On an exhale, go ahead and release the hands, take the hands behind the back, interlace the hands gently, and lift, spreading across the chest there. And I've got a little bend in my elbows. I'm keeping the muscles of the back engaged. And as I release my hands, I'll take a twist over to the right, or my first side. I found that in teaching online, first side and second side seem to work better than lefts and rights. So we'll be here and just observe a very gentle twist. So if you are in a place where you need more of an open twist, so our prenatal mommas, taking the first hand either to your second knee. I guess that'd be my second hand to my second knee. Anyway, keeping an open twist here if you need more space. And observe. And keeping the gentle traction through the spine. And then at the bottom of the exhale, we'll come all the way through center, lengthen the spine, and then switch sides. Again, for an open twist, you'll keep the first hand on that first knee instead of crossing it over the body. Wherever you're at, you're keeping just space as much as you can across the chest, maintaining length at the back body, and maybe starting to look over the shoulder. the bottom of the exhale, go ahead and come forward. And this time, we'll plant the feet a little bit wider than the hips. And I was sitting on a blanket. I'm going to scoot that off to the side for a moment here, and then some internal and external rotation of the legs. Here and here. And we forget that the hips can move all the way around in this hip socket, especially when we've been sitting for a long period of time. This can feel really good. Now I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to work on range of motion through my ankle. Sit back so you can see my feet. I'll start on the first side. So here I'm holding my shin, my knee. There's lots of different ways that you can hold on to this. I just don't want the rotation of my ankle to be transferred up to the knee or the hip joint just for today. So drawing a big circle here. And switching. There are often times that I'll add in the other joints, but sometimes it's really good to isolate just so you know, am I rotating from the correct joint or not? This is something called CARS, or controlled articular rotation, which just means moving the joints through their full range of motion. I'm going to spread my toes really wide, then I'm going to clench my toes and spread them and clench them. Nice, and then I'm going to point and flex the whole foot. Awesome. I'm going to stay on that first side. I'm going to hold the thigh, and then I'm just going to work on bending the knee. So bending here, and then turn the toes lightly and out to the side, and then bend, and then turn the toes lightly in, and then bend. You see that again, so straight ahead, lift up, turn the toes to the side, lift up, back through center, turn the toes in, lift up. Awesome. And then we'll switch sides. Here we are. And I find this side, that knee really wants to get involved. So, and this is something you can do sitting on a chair too. So that's a better position for you. So just taking my ankle around in circles, making sure I go both directions. I tend to do about 3 to 5 in each direction. Nice, and then I'm going to point, flex, flex. And then I'm going to spread my toes really wide, and then clench my toes, and spread my toes, and clench my toes. Okay. Nice, and now coming to that knee joint, I'm going to support the thigh as I go up and down. I'm going to turn the toes lightly to the outside and lift up. Turn the toes lightly to the inside and lift up. Nice. Back through center. Toes out. Lift. Toes in. Lift. Toes through center. Lift. And we'll do one more. Okay, here, come to all fours. Feel free to pad your knees with a blanket, and feel free to use blocks or even weights or grippets underneath the hands if you are finding you need some more support. From here, some cat and cow movements. And we want to especially think about what the shoulder blades are doing and what the hips are doing. So pushing up towards the sky on the exhale, and really dropping the belly. Rolling the chest open. Exhale. Neutral spine. I just want to move my hips here side to side. Drawing the shoulder towards the hip. Same side, same side. One more on each side. Turning and looking, looking. All right. Now we're going to do some range of motion of the hips. So remember, you can pop yourself up to your fingertips. You can grab blocks here, or you can keep the hands on the ground. We're going to do just a little bit of hip movement. So rotation here. I'm going to take my first leg and draw a big circle towards my wrist, towards my elbow, towards my armpit, and then I'm lifting all the way in a circle. And I'm going to extend and then tap that knee to the ground. Now I'm going to reverse the movement. So I'm going through extension, feeling the back of my thigh and my glute engage. And then without rotating the other hip as much as I can, or moving the other hip, I'm going to draw a big circle as best I can. And then back down. Okay. Go ahead and switch sides. We'll keep alternating here for a total of 3 on each side. So going in each direction. So now that I'm on my second side, I'm drawing up towards my wrist, up and out. I'm rotating here, and then going down. Then back, feeling my glute and hip engage. Then I'm going to drop big circle out, up, and down. Good. So 2 more on each side. Last one on each side. Switching sides. Last one. Let's shake it out with a cat and cow. And then puppy pose. Feel free to walk the hands forward. You can keep the hands on blocks, sitting the hips back. This can be a nice shoulder opener. You can also take the blocks a little flatter, or move the blocks off to the side, taking the hands onto the ground. And then here, I've got my fingers popped up, but feel free to have flat hands. And we're doing the best here to keep the hips lifted as the belly drops down. On an inhale, we'll come up, hands underneath the shoulders here. And then a little bit of shoulder blade push-ups. So as best we can, we're going to drop the chest down towards the thumbs. My shoulder blades are drawing towards each other. And then I'm pushing back into my upper back. So some shoulder blade push-ups here, working the strength of my rhomboids right between my shoulder blades. All right, then try and take these into little circles, so some shoulder circles. As you drop the chest, the shoulders go back, then you want to drag the heart forward and then push away. So just some circles here, dropping down. My arms are straight and then pushing back. Then I'm going to reverse that, and if available, we can try turning the palms down. So I'm going to reverse that. I'm going to reach my heart forward first, then I'm dropping, and I'm kind of rounding my shoulders towards my ears, and then I'm pushing back. Okay, so heart forward, drop the chest, round, press, and then release. Coming back onto a seat, you can choose a cross-legged seat. You can sit on a chair, or we can take the blocks underneath us for Virasana here. Okay. Continuing with our range of motion, We're going to take the hands forward. Straighten myself out a little bit. We want to pull the elbows by the sides so that we don't start using the shoulders to find movement in the wrists. And then with palms starting up, we're going to turn the pinkies towards each other and then away, and towards each other and away. Good. Nice. Now we're going to draw circles. I'm going to flip my hands down. Continue that circle and up. Once again, draw a circle. And then you can just draw some circles as they feel good. Just notice if you're trying to compensate for this movement in the shoulders. Try and relax the neck and jaw. And then hold your thumbs in. And then make little fists here. Squeeze the fist really hard, but try to keep that energy just in the fists without tensing up the neck and shoulders. 3, 2, 1, and then release the hands. You feel that tingling sensation through the hands, breathing into the palms. Very nice. Now take your hands to the back of your neck and skull. And do just a little bit of self-massage here. So I'm at the point where my neck and shoulders meet. I'm going to draw my elbows gently closer to each other. I'm kind of walking my fingertips down my neck. And then as I go back up, I'm going to pulling a little self-massage as I go back to where the skull meets the cervical spine. Oh, that feels so good. Nice. Now from the base of the skull, we're going to walk the fingers like right underneath the jaw. Sternocleidomastoid muscle here. Nice. And then just walking back in that direction. Good. And now we'll go right to the jaw hinge, or TMJ. And you can feel that by opening and closing your mouth. So right where that is, then we're going to do just a little bit of self-massage. So just some little circles there. Nice. If you find a point that you just want to press on and take a few deep breaths. Notice if you're holding tension in the neck and shoulders and throat as you do this. Breathe. Nice. And then I'm sliding my hands down towards my chin ever so slowly. Awesome. Well, now we're going to take our peace fingers and just a little bit of tapping right beneath the eyes. So I'm on the bridge of my nose, and then I'm just doing these little taps out to the side. Taking deep breaths into my sinuses. And then up over the eyes, and right to that third eye center. And then a big arch. Back down to the jaw, tap on that jaw, open and close the mouth if you like. Nice. And then release. Just breathe into the muscles of the face for a moment. Okay. And now here, we're doing some range of motion of the neck. If this doesn't feel good to you, please substitute it with something else. Go with your own comfort range here. So we're going to start with just looking up and down. So you don't need to go through the full range of motion, but we're going to drop the chin down. And then we're going to look up. And then drop the chin down. And inhale to look up. You don't have to go to the edge there. One more. As I come to neutral, I want to make sure that my head's right on top of my spine. So I usually draw my chin back lightly, and then I want to stay there. And I'm imagining if there's kind of a string attached to the crown of my head so that I can't move it laterally. It stays right where it is. But now I'm going to rotate and I'm going to look as far over to one side as I can while trying to keep my head right on top of my spine. Round of breath. And then come through center, slow, mindful. And then switch sides. Round of breath. Inhale to come through center. And drop one ear to the same side shoulder. Call that first side. And whichever side you are leaning to, the opposite arm is going to reach out to the side. And you can play with moving that arm up and down, back and forth, or even bending the elbow and taking it to the low back. And also play with the position of your chin here as you breathe to open the chest and the heart on that first side. You have the option of taking one hand to your head. And if you do, gently push the head against the hand and the hand against the head. 2 more breaths. Need another breath or 2, feel free to linger, and then as you're ready, be as gentle as you can as you take the head back up to center. And then as we switch sides, once again, lengthen, and then tilt second ear to second shoulder, and extend the opposite arm out. Move your chin, and move your arm until it's the position where you need it for this side. We are asymmetrical beings. So if this side does feel different than the first side, it's totally normal. If one side is a lot tighter than another side, feel free to linger. That goes for any of the shapes that we do today, that we do anytime. Lovely. All right, and then being very gentle as you take the head back up through center. All right, making our way into high kneeling. So if you were in a cross-legged position, you need to adjust yourself into a kneeling position. We're going to work on movement of the thoracic spine, all the spine here. So I'm in a tall kneeling position, and I'm rooting down through my legs. I'm picking up the hit of my belly, Uddiyana Bandha, the space right above the pelvic floor, deep to the belly button, below. We lift it from there, and feel like this is just kind of holding us into space. We are holding ourselves. And then we're going to cross the arms gently over the chest, and lightly touching opposite arms. And then we're going to start to lean back just as gently as you feel comfortable, and then making little circles here with the torso. Just getting as much range of motion in these rotations as it feels comfortable to you. And then switching directions after 3 to 5 rounds on each side. You can take these pretty deep if that feels comfortable to you. And then from our kneeling, this is a really good way to just work on some range of motions and strength over here. So from kneeling, we're going to start with your first side, first arm. And we're going to try not to let the rest of the body come with it as we find some arm circles here. Keeping the arm up, and then you're going to draw a big circle as you come around. So this can also be done standing. If it does not feel good to be on your knees, feel free to come to stand in Tadasana and work on these shoulder circles here, turning the palm away and then coming down. So I did 3 in that direction. Now I'm going to reverse it, finding my external rotation of the arm and then rotating back around.
And then I'm actually going to cross the body. And release. Good. Going back. Back the hand extends. Big circle here. Palm turns in. And then I cross. Relax. And one more. I'm going to turn the back of the palm. Up. Rotate around. And then across the body. Switching sides. Inhale. Around. Oh, I can see that shoulder's tight. My body wants to lean. So if your body is doing that, oftentimes hand on the rib cage can be very helpful here. See how much tighter this side is. It's really trying to compensate. As I go around, and now reversing that, my palm is down as I find extension. Then I'm going to turn the palm, come all the way up, and I'm going to cross the body. Extension, big circle, across, relax. Extension, big circle, across, relax. Okay, inhale the hands up and overhead, and exhale to all fours. From all fours, our first downward facing dog as we curl the toes under and lift the hips up and back. So feel free to have the knees really bent here. Feel free to walk the feet pretty wide. The crown of my head is extending towards my thumb. And I'm trying to keep space at my neck. My inner thighs are lengthening back. And feel free to bend one knee deep and then the other, getting a nice calf stretch here. Observe the full rounds of breath. And on an inhale, look forward and then walk the feet to the hands or the hands to the feet, however you need to find a halfway lift. Lengthen the spine. And exhale, Uttanasana, folding over the legs. So feel free to have a pretty wide stance here and feel free to have the knees pretty bent. And the hands can be on the ground or behind the calves. And then just let the head shake. Yes, no, or side to side. Good. As you press into the feet, we're going to sit the hips back as far as we can. So my shins are pretty vertical. And then I'm going to sweep the hands forward, coming into a chair pose for just a moment before straightening my legs and bringing hands to heart center. A few rounds of classical Surya Namaskar. Having blocks handy can be helpful. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale halfway, so feel free to use blocks. Step your first leg back. Pause here for just a breath. Then take your back knee down, that first knee down. Adjusting as you need to, and inhale the arms. Please keep the gaze gently forward, keep the jaw soft. The hands can be wide if you need. If this bothers the arms for any reason, feel free to take them down, or if you want to add in some extra chest opening, you can interlace the hands behind the back. Holding here for 3 more breaths. Rooting down to lift up. As you exhale, release the hands down to the ground or to blocks. Come to all fours. Our little mini push-up. As we keep the hips lifted, we'll drop the chest towards the thumbs and exhale to press back. From here, extended tabletop, reach your first leg back, one that we just stepped back, and then take your opposite hand forward. Find 2 full rounds of breath here. And exhale to all fours. Switch sides. Second leg back. We lift the leg so it's like right in line with that hip. And then Opposite hand is forward. About 2 to 3 breaths. On an exhale, return to all fours. Take the big toes together, let the knees come wide, and sit back towards child's pose. You can always have the hips lifted here if that feels better. You can also place a blanket underneath the knees or behind the knees here to help assist with that. If you would like, you can find some movement in the hips. And then 2 more breaths here. On an inhale, lift the head and chest, and we'll walk the hands over to one side, finding a nice side stretch here. As you shift the hips back, relaxing the head. There's many different positions that the hands can go in here, so just kind of explore where you need to be to really breathe and lengthen into that first side. On an inhale, lift the head and chest, and then we'll switch sides here. Lengthening as you come through center, and exhale to fold. On an inhale, we'll come through center. And find downward facing dog again. And now we'll step that first foot forward, which you can do from downward facing dog or around yourself forward and then step your first foot forward. So it's the same leg that stepped back that first time, that first lunge. And inhale to our second Anjaneyasana here. Hands can be wherever they are serving you best today. If you want a little bit more energy, power, opening, you can always add in your cactus arms. And then as you exhale, the hands can come down to the ground, they can come to your blocks or your chair, and then step forward and fold over the legs. So feel free to step the feet as wide as you need. Relax the head. Nice. And then this time, I don't normally do this, but I do every once in a while. I think it's a good movement. Press down into the feet, turn on the legs. The legs are really strong. They might have a little bend in them, and that's fine. But now we're going to start to round. So drawing the belly button towards the spine. Strong, strong legs, so strong hips. And then I'm stacking the vertebrae on top of each other as it feels good to me. And then my shoulders looping back and the head right on top of the spine. Good. On an inhale, take the hands up and overhead. And as you exhale, fold, bending the knees as needed. Inhale, look forward. Step your second leg back. Pause for a round of breath here. Good. Take that second knee down to the ground. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. So we were just here. Go a little faster this time. As you exhale, release the hands. And step back to a plank. Good. We can always drop to the knees. I'm just going to take another round of breath. Then drop to the knees. And here, extended tabletop. Taking out our little mini push-up, adding in that little mini plank. We'll extend the second leg first, like we just lunged back, and then opposite hand. Just as long as you do both, we'll be fine. 2 breaths. Exhale, release, and switch sides. So trying to feel the glutes, the mid back, upper back, strong body. Return to all fours. curl the toes, lift the hips up and back. Another round of breath here. Then round forward and drop to the knees. So here, kneeling. Take the hands to the sacrum, the low back. Draw the elbows towards each other, lift the chest. So you can stay right here if you want to take this a little bit bigger. Shift the hips forward, lift the heart. You do have an option for grabbing the feet if that is available and feels good to you. One more big breath here. One more inhale, and then exhale to come out. Okay. Downward facing dog. And preparing for our lunge on the second side. Option to step forward from down dog or round forward, coming to the knees, and then step that second foot forward. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. Your variation, strong legs. And then release the hands and step forward, fold over the legs, adjust the stance of your feet as much as you need. And inhale all the way up to rest. Okay. Hands to heart center. And then release the hands by the sides. Take a wide step out here. We'll come into warrior two. So your first toes are going to turn straight ahead. So if it's my right toes are turning out to the right. And then I'm going to bend my right knee right in that direction. So it doesn't have to be a huge bend. This is fine. And then as wide or as long of a stance as you feel comfortable with. So a shorter stance is going to be much more stable. A wider stance is going to be much more stable. You can take this wherever you would like to today. I'm going to open my hips away from each other, but I'm trying to keep that first knee tracking straight ahead. And I'm pressing strong into my back leg, even though my anatomy doesn't really make it look like I am. And here we are, and we're going to stay here for 5 breaths. Now, if you're having a hard time staying here, another option to add in some support is to sit the hips onto a chair or onto blocks here that make this a little bit more restorative, or just takes a little less effort. Still feeling strong in all my muscles, feeling that strong connection to the ground. My belly button gently pulling in towards my spine. And then as I release the hands, if shoulders are bothering you, you can also take your hands to your hips or behind your back there. And then I'm going to come out, turn my toes straight ahead. Take just a moment here. Strong legs pushing down into both the feet. And then switch sides. You may need to adjust your feet for this side. Try and watch that second knee where it tracks. And then push strong into that back leg. So there's a gentle external rotation of that front leg and an external rotation of that back leg, just a little bit. Good. Belly button gently towards the spine, and then option to extend the arms. Good. Another little trick is if we take the hands higher than the shoulders, it changes the way that the shoulder blades move down the back. So that can often give more space in the neck and shoulders too. And about 3 more reps. And exhale, release the hands, turn the toes through center. Nice job. Inhale to lift the heart, and then as you exhale, fold over the legs. Here, inhale to reach the heart forward.
walk the hands forward. We're going to add in a little twist. So taking that first hand to our sacrum, I'm going to try not to move my hips around as I rotate open to that first side. Maybe it's just the shoulder blade rolling back and down. You can keep the hand on the sacrum, or you can extend the hand up towards the sky. On an exhale, first hand comes down, and then we switch sides. Here, shoulder opens, I'm rotating open, and maybe I stay with the hand on the sacrum, or maybe I lift. Exhale to release, and then we're going right back into that first side, which you can do by lifting straight up or hand to back, but just don't let your hips go with it. So shift the hips in the opposite direction. Find your round of breath. Take that first side down, second side lifts. Second hand comes down, and then walk yourself into a little wider forward fold. Feel free to bend the knees, the hips can shift forward, hands can walk back, hands can also walk out to the feet. If you like a more active pose, you can take peace fingers to your big toes, inhale to lengthen, exhale, bend the elbows out to the side. If you're feeling like you'd like something to push the crown of the head in, it can offer a nice sense of stability there. Notice the breath. And as you inhale, we'll slowly come out, hands to hips. And then bring the feet underneath the hips. Feel free to hop the feet underneath the hips if you'd like. Our first standing balance. Vrikshasana tree pose. Feel free to come to a wall to place your hand on a chair or wherever you need to be to find some stability. We're going to shift our weight into our second side as we take our first knee forward and then out to the side. So you can have toes on the ground, heel into the calf. The foot can come up to the calf, or if you'd like, and it's available to you, you can take the foot to the upper thigh. So here I'm still finding that external rotation of that first leg, and feeling the inner thigh really working of that second leg. So I'm pushing into the foot. If the foot's not on the thigh, it's the calf that's pushing in, and it's that equal pressure that keeps me right in the midline. Nice hands here. Can be namaste. I like to start here as I push my hands together. It helps me to turn on the muscles of my back. I draw the belly button gently towards my spine, and then I can keep that, or I can open my arms into any variation here. Branches of a tree. One more full round of breath. And then release. Come through center. And with as much control as you can. Step up. Okay. And switching sides here. Shift your weight into that first side. Take your second knee, bend it forward, and then out to the side. So wherever this side is, and it might be completely different than that first side, and that's normal. Here. Here. Nice. So I need to squeeze in to stay in my plumb line. Strong connection to the ground. Maybe the arms. So we'll live about 5 breaths here. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to release. Shake it out. Cool, Trikonasana. And feet about one leg's length. We're going to turn our first toes straight ahead and kick our second heel straight back. Nice. Now here, I find that if my torso is pointed like perpendicular to the toes, that oftentimes I feel like I'm kind of jamming into my hip socket. So for myself, I tend to rotate my torso lightly forward first. I have more space in that hip socket, and I can extend that first side, side body and arm really long. And as I take that down, then I can reopen, rolling open here. I feel like I've got way more space. An option to take that second hand straight up, or you can keep it on the hip. So the first hand that's down, you can push the back of the hand into the calf like I'm doing here, and you can use that to develop traction to roll open, or you can take your hand to a block or to a chair. Two more breaths. Long spine. And then like this top arm is being pulled, strong torso all the way up. Then releasing the hands. We'll switch sides. So here you can see my torso rotating towards the toes, lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. Okay. And then as I come down, now I'm going to reopen from that back thigh too. Long spine. Nice. And then try and turn on the muscles of the quads. Nice. Pushing down into the ground using the four corners of both of your feet. Stay with your breath. And at the bottom of your next exhale, pushing down into the feet. Use your core to come up to stand. Release the hands. And here, our last standing shape. Oh, no, I lied. We haven't done a side bend yet. We're going to do a standing side bend. Tadasana. Inhale. Good. So here you have a few options. You can just take one hand down, reach up and over for a side bend here. You can interlace the hands, cross the thumb, steeple the index finger for a side bend here. Or you can keep the hands alongside the ears. Inhale to come through center. Lengthen. And exhale. Inhale, come through center. And exhale, bend the elbows, open the heart. Nice. Then our final standing pose. Here, Garudasana, eagle pose. You can use a block for some extra balance. So if you want a more open posture, the right ankle can cross over the left thigh. You can go to a wall here and sit. It's a nice hip opener. We're working on building the strength of the hips. You want to squeeze the thighs and the shins towards each other. You can just cross the legs here and squeeze. You can take your first foot across the body and onto a block, or a squeezing. But you can focus on just the legs if you want, or if you want to add in the arm, the right arm's going to come underneath the left, and maybe the hands are here and you're just working on trying to draw the forearms closer to each other, or maybe we have a bind. Okay. Picking up the pit of the belly, and lift the elbows gently, and feel the shoulder blades drawing down the back. One more round of breath. And then release. Nice work. Switching sides. Taking the variation that you would like. Squeezing towards the midline. Hands come out to the sides. And if we want to add in the arms, left arm is going to come underneath, right? And we lift here. Three. Nice work. Cool. And making our way onto our mats once more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, look forward. Plant your hands on the ground or grab your blocks, take both your legs back. Drop to the knees. Nice. One round of extended tabletops, extending your first leg, extending the opposite arm. Inhale to lift, feel the strength of the back. Exhale to lower. Switch sides. Inhale. Feel the strength of the back and the legs. And exhale. Lower here. Doing one more little push up. And then swing the legs off to the side. Make your way into Dandasana. So our straight-legged seat, staff pose. Here, I often sit on the edge of a blanket. I might have my knees really bent, or I might take another blanket underneath my knees. And that's if your hips or hamstrings are tight. Okay? What we're looking for is that space along the back to remain, the low back to remain really long and tall. So once we come into a forward fold, we're going to have rounding of the mid back and the upper back. We want to do our best to try and keep that low back as long as we can. So for some of us, it might mean we need to sit up really, really high. And for others, you might be all the way on the ground. Wherever you're at today, we're going to push the thighs and the shins down towards the ground. If it feels okay to have the legs together, we'll have the legs together, squeezing the inner thighs gently towards each other, squeezing the shins towards each other, extending the legs out. The hands, if your arms are long enough, you can push down into the sides here, which might are with the blanket, or you can pop the fingertips up behind you. Good. I'm going to stay here for 5 rounds of breath. And just observing this shape, seeing how much energy we need to maintain it, but where we can release. What is my experience in this shape in this moment? At the bottom of your next exhale, I'm going to bend the knees and then take the feet out wide. Upavista Konasana, or wide-legged forward fold. So you can have the knees really bent here. That's totally fine. I've got the same considerations here, and even more so now that I'm going to come forward with that low back area. So really feel free. I'm on a blanket. I'm on the very edge so that my hips start to rotate forward. So that's an anterior forward pelvic tilt is what is going to help me here. And as I feel the ground beneath me, I'm also staying engaged through the pelvis, through Uddiyana Bandha, our energy center directly above the pelvic floor. And we're using that to help us feel lifted, to create a sense of space right at the pelvis so that we can fold up and over the legs there. And we're going to be here for 2 minutes. I'm going to grab my timer because I'm going to forget when 2 minutes has gone by. But here we are, 2 minutes. And if you start to get any like cramping or anything, feel free to come out, shake that out, like right there, and do what you need to do. And then as you're ready, you can come back. You might start to walk forward. You might actually have your hands behind you if that feels better to you. You can start to take the hands down towards the feet, sliding them along the shins. The hands are on the ground. If you have the space available, you can take peace fingers to big toes. Inhaling to gather space and length, and exhaling to fold a little deeper. And we've got time here. So allow space to come when it's ready. As you feel the spaces in the body that are being targeted by the shape, really breathe and flood those areas with the breath. If you want to try adding length, it's an inhale to lengthen, lift the heart, find traction. Tune in. At the bottom of your next exhale, go ahead and come up. 2 minutes goes by fast. Use the hands to help us bend the knees. And here, rocking side to side. Let's take a moment to come onto the back. And if the back body is unavailable to you, you can do this seated by crossing the right ankle over the left thigh and staying right here. If the back body is available, we can come onto the back. And first, we can draw some circles with the knees. And then we can come into figure 4, crossing the right ankle over the left thigh. And here, there's lots of variations that I can do as I try and hug my left thigh in and my right thigh away. So I might use my right hand to push my right thigh gently away and use my left hand to pull the left thigh in. There's also a bind that you can take behind that left leg, or extending the left leg up towards the sky if that feels like it's serving you. And 3 more breaths here. At the bottom of the exhale, you can uncross the legs, you can shake it out. Hug the knees in neutral shape, and then switch sides. My left ankle coming on top of my right thigh, or vice versa. Then finding the combination that you need on this second side to try and open the outside of the hips and glutes there.
Notice where your mind is. And if it's wandering, just gently bring it back. And keep asking yourself, how does this feel now? How does this feel now? Each moment is constantly changing. How can we better listen to better respond? If this side's a lot tighter, feel free to linger, and then as you're ready at the bottom of an exhale, we can release. Might feel nice to extend both legs up towards the sky, or if you're seated, extending both legs out. Nice. Now from here, I'm coming into Parvrita Janu Shirsasana. I'm going to start with the legs wide, and then I'm going to take my first leg, bend it. I'm going to take the sole of the foot towards my second thigh. Then here, there's lots of things I can do. I might just be right here. Having a block can be really nice. Take a block to the inside or the outside of this leg. You want to take this a little bit deeper. We want to inhale and lengthen the spine. And then as we exhale, really leading with the side body. Maybe the forearm comes down onto the block, or maybe you take it down to the ground. And you can stay right here, or that first side arm can reach up towards the sky. You can keep it there as a chest opener. You can bend the elbow, take that hand right behind the head. So actually I kind of grab onto the base of the skull and I use it to lengthen, and then I rotate towards the elbow. This is one other variation, adds in a nice side stretch. And then your more traditional variation is reaching the hand up and overhead, like you're gonna try and reach for that toe. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. We've got about 5 more breaths here. So if you do get a hold of that toe, so I'm over here, and I'm gonna try and snuggle my head underneath my arm and roll my heart open. And it's taken me a really long time to get here. I'm ready to come out of this shape. Back through center. Release the legs. Switch sides. So wide-legged stance for just a moment. Here. And then as you need for this side. And don't forget to breathe. And when you feel ready to come out, take a few breaths to slowly help yourself out. Getting more length. Coming through center. Now Baddha Konasana. The soles of the feet are together. And I'm gonna arch my back a little bit here.
And as I exhale, I'm going to draw my knees up and around my back. And then inhale. And exhale, try and switch the hands. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale through stomach. Soles lifting together. And then here, we'll find a little forward fold. Pushing the thighs and the shins down towards the ground. You might open the feet like a little book. Moving the shoulders away from the ears. One more round of breath here. Inhale up to rise. Drawing the knees in. And then one of the last shapes we're going to do is our straight-legged forward fold. Feel free to have the feet a little bit wider if that is more comfortable for your hips or for your condition. And as you inhale, you have the option of just lifting from here or lifting the arms, lead with the heart. So you can see I'm bending my knees a little bit as I fold over my legs. My hamstrings are tighter and shorter, so that's just what I need to do. And then wherever my hands land, they might land here, they might land here. Go ahead and lift the chest once more. Try and pull the sternum through the column of the arms. And then fold a little deeper. So here I shouldn't feel any pressure at the sacrum. I might feel a general pull up the back and along the back of the legs, but nothing that feels like it's like in the hips or in that sacrum, outside of just a very gentle stretch. We let the head drop last, but anytime we feel like we want to cultivate more space, we can lift the head and chest and re-extend that heart forward and fold a little bit deeper. If you feel like you're ready for a bigger grip or a different grip, as you inhale, you can take the hands up again, re-lengthen, and then maybe there's enough space to get a little deeper. And explore the sensations that are occurring in the forward fold. It is not an easy place to stay. As we focus on the movement of the breath, we keep the mind calm and focused inward. About 30 seconds to a minute left here. If you need to come out sooner, feel free. Final few breaths here. At the bottom of an exhale, get length as you come up And then exhale to release. Very nice. Making our way onto our backs. We're going to come into a gentle twist. And if being on your back is not serving you, feel free to take a seated twist, an open twist. You can start with the knees over the hips. Extend the shins up gently. And then as you exhale, you let both legs fall over to one side. And if this feels too intense, feel free to stagger the legs. Or even cross second leg on top of the first. Staying aware in our twist here, this corkscrew effect through the spine. Breathing along the shape of the back. If you're pregnant and starting to feel any tingling sensations along the back, please come out of this shape, as that can be a sign of pressure on the vena cava. The bottom of your next exhale will take the legs back up through center. If you need to readjust your hips, feel free to do so. And as we come into our second side, we'll go right as we came into the first side, lifting up the legs, letting both legs fall over to one side. You can always place a blanket or a block underneath the knees, here, or in between the legs there. This can also feel very nice. And then if I want to add in my cervical spine, I'll look in the opposite direction of my legs. Just letting the body rest. When you're ready to come out of this shape, we'll find the bottom of the exhale and take the legs up through center. Give ourselves a wide-legged knee hug. If you need to adjust your hips, feel free. And then a happy baby, taking the hands either to the ankles or to the outsides of the feet or wherever they can grab. Sometimes behind the knees can feel nice too. And just rock. Take a moment to thank yourself for making it through your practice. You play with extending one leg and then the other, both legs. If there's anything else that you need for your own practice, please feel free to take a moment to do so now. And I'll give you a few variations for our closing. You can take traditional Shavasana on your back. You can draw the knees in, roll to one side, supporting yourself here, either the
arm for the head or pillow between the knees. This could be a very nice place to rest. Now also offered the Karani, our legs up the wall pose. As I get my hips real close to the wall and take my legs up. So if I don't have access to a wall, but I have a couch or a chair nearby, oftentimes I'll bend my knees and just put my feet on the couch, and that can be a really nice low back release. So wherever you want to spend your final shape, as you're ready. And just let the body relax. We're here now to passively absorb all the benefits of our practice. We'll scan through the body just like we did at the beginning of our practice. Bringing awareness to the crown of the head, and the back of the skull. We release all the muscles of the face, finding space between the eyebrows, relaxing the jaw, the neck. The body feels like it's melting, fully supported by the ground beneath you. We'll try and stay here another full 7 minutes for your own practice, if possible. I encourage you to just press pause and take as long as you need. Shavasana is considered one of the most important parts of our practice. But just in the interest of length of time for our recorded session here, whenever you're ready, I'll meet you in a comfortable seat.
From our comfortable seated position, observe the connection to the ground beneath you and your extension to the cosmos and the sky above. As we imagine this pull of our knowledge up, so we're gathering the energy of the earth upwards, and we're pulling the energy and the knowledge of the cosmos and above down. And we see this point right in the center of their body where they converge, where they meet. And this was our focus today. To look inward at the lessons that we're receiving from below, from above, to settle into this space and to observe. All the tools, the obstacles that we have in front of us are within us. As we bring hands to heart center, we'll gently lift the heart and bow the head. May this practice serve you on and off the mat. Thank you so much for being here today. Have a lovely day. See you next time. If you found this video helpful to you, please do us a favor and subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends and family. Happy yoga-ing!